Sometimes when you're dividing radicals, you actually have two terms in the denominator. And these you want to work a little bit differently. The rule still applies that you want to simplify as much as possible. If there is anything you can break down, you want to go ahead and do that. And you never, ever, ever want to leave a radical in the denominator of your final answer. So as I can see here, that's about the only thing that I need to deal with. I cannot leave the square root of 5 at the bottom. But these are like together, right? These are two terms that are together. So when I get rid of this, aka rationalize the denominator, I'm going to multiply by something just a little bit different, and it's called the conjugate. Okay? The conjugate is basically the same exact thing, but with an opposite sign in the middle. So since the original problem is 4 plus the square root of 5, I am going to multiply the top and the bottom of the fraction by 4 minus the square root of 5. And I have to do it to both because that's the only way I'm keeping the fraction equivalent, right? If I change just the bottom and not the top, I've essentially messed up the proportion. Now I'm putting parentheses around it because I really want you to note that now it's like I'm distributing at the top. 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times a negative square root of 5 is negative 3 square root of 5. Now the bottom is like a FOIL. I got 4 times 4, 16. 4 times negative square root of 5. Then I have 5 times 4, which is plus 4 square root of 5. And then I have the square root of 5 minus the square root of 5, which gives me negative square root of 25. So if I did everything properly, what should happen is these middle terms here should cancel out. A negative 4 and a positive 4, they're gone. 16 comes down minus, and what is the square root of 25? It's 5. So that gives me 11. So my final answer here would be 12 minus 3 square root of 5 at the top over 11, which is the bottom. So let's just look at a few more. So here, also not a whole lot to simplify, but I do need to get the radical off the bottom. So I am going to multiply by the conjugate. So this time the conjugate is going to be the square root of 3 plus 1. And again, we're going to do that at the top and the bottom. I am going to use parentheses to just really help me see the multiplication. I have x times the square root of 3. So it's exactly what I said out loud. X times 1. So that's the top. The bottom is going to be square root of 3 times the square root of 3, which is the square root of 9. Square root of 3 times 1, so positive 1 square root of 3. Then I have negative 1 square root of 3. And then negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Again, if everything was done properly, those middle terms should cancel each other out. The square root of 9 is 3. I still have the minus 1, so I have a 2 at the bottom. So here I'm going to have x square root of 3 plus x over 2. I don't think you'll need to do this for your homework, but I could factor out an x from the top there and be left with square root of, let me erase that, square root of 3 plus 1. But unfortunately, factoring didn't cancel anything. Nothing else crossed out, so I could have left it either way. Just make sure you're reading the directions and how they want the final answer to look. Let's look at a few more. For the top one, again. Gotta multiply by that conjugate. So I have the square root of 5 plus the square root of 2. And we're going to do that at the top and the bottom, using parentheses to show my multiplication. I'm going to distribute the 4. So I get 4 square root of 5 plus 4 square root of 2 all over. And this is like a FOIL. So we have the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 25. Square root of 5 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 10. Then we come to the bottom. Negative square root of 2 square root of 5 is minus square root of 10. And then negative square root of 2 square root of 2 is minus square root of 4. These middle terms definitely cancel. So that's what we're looking for. The square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 4 is 2, so it's going to be a minus 2. So the bottom of my answer, the denominator is 3. And I'm just going to bring this down. 4 square root of 5 plus 4 square root of 2. Those are not like terms, so I can't do anything else with those. I'm just going to leave it like that. But at least the radical is not in the denominator anymore, and that's really what we were looking for. So this one, again, you got to think about the conjugate. It's going to be 7 plus the square root of 3, and we're going to use that at the top and the bottom. Going to go ahead and FOIL and distribute. Honestly, distributing a positive 1 doesn't really do anything, so I'm just going to rewrite the top. The bottom does change a little. We got 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times the square root of 3. Then we have negative square root of 3 and 7. And then negative square root of 3 square root of 3. And then you just want to take your time and simplify what you can. These guys cancel. Square root of 9 is 3. So at the bottom I have 49 minus 3, which is 46. And then I'm just going to bring the top down.